So, what is therapy for? How does it help? Well, to answer that, we need to consider how infants and small children come into the world so full of life, radiant with joy and love. It's amazing. But that beautiful light that comes into the world as a small child cannot be received by the world. It's too bright and beautiful. The parents of the child, they're caught in their own drama and negativity, and they can only partially reflect back that love light coming from the child. And it hurts. It hurts the child. So, for example, she'll have this great life energy, the spontaneous movement of life and expression, self-expression coming out of her. Oh, falls flat. Oh, let me try dad. Oh, there's something wrong. So this is very painful to the small child, and they have to cope with it. One of the most common ways children cope with the lack of love in their family is by taking on the burden themselves, right? It's an unconscious decision. It's a strategy to survive the pain of the lack of love in the family. So if the small boy believes the reason for this lack of love is his fault, right? Then he can do something about it. He can fix it. He can knock himself out to be a good boy and prove that he's worthy of love. And in that very process, he's starting to lose connection to his original life energy as he enters more fully into the life of his and to the drama of his family. Now, we carry this programming, right? So there's the original wound of a lack of love, and then the burden, we take it, we blame ourselves for it. So there's this deep felt sense of unlovable that we carry. And from that that deep felt sense of being unlovable emerges not enough anxiety. So that's the source of our not enough anxiety, is the deep felt sense that we're not worthy of love. And unfortunately, again, as the child grows into an adult, she will be carrying this program still running. Okay, and so, for example, at work, a manager gives some simple feedback to her, to help her improve her job performance. And if that feedback, it can touch on that wound of being unlovable, right? And can set off a whole cascade of anxiety and pain and drama. Oh, my manager's going to find out I'm really a loser. I'm not good enough. I'm going to get fired. So the question becomes in therapy is how to reprogram yourself, how to let go of these patterns, right? Well, to explain that, I have to tell you a true story of a tiger. So there was a Bengal tiger. This is about 40 years ago in Chicago. There was a beautiful tiger in an exhibit at a zoo in Chicago. And it was a terrible exhibit, a very small cage. So in between meals and sleeping, the tiger would just pace and pace and pace in this little cage, basically, it was in, to keep from going insane. Well, finally, some friends of the zoo got together and they made a beautiful exhibit for him. I mean, it was huge. It was open to the sky. There was even a water feature. So the big day came to let the tiger in his new home, and they did. And what did the tiger do but creep immediately to the back corner of his exhibit and start pacing and pacing up against the gray wall until he wore a rut in the sod. So you see, what was adaptive in his diminished condition was pacing. Pacing kept him sane, saved his life when he was in that little cage. So what was adaptive then is now maladaptive, but the program is still running. Human beings are the same way. We're more complicated. So the question becomes, how how do human beings reprogram themselves in psychotherapy? How do you get down to the root of the problem? Well, there's a process that happens as you bring these dynamics into the light of awareness, and you learn to connect to that part of you that's carrying the burden of unlovable. And that connection will help that part of you unburden, so you can finally heal those programs and leave those patterns behind.